Boston.
I think I'll kill you.
Think of my children.
You don't have any children.
Someday.
Would you like to see?
Yeah.
One does not simply walk into Mordor.
Raider!
You shall not pass! This is Sparta!
I'm gonna need you to go ahead and come in tomorrow.
First.
Boy, that escalated.
In just a few hours, you'll be sitting around a campfire with Andy making delicious hot schmoes.
Jack, I want you to draw me like one of your French.
I will look for you. I will find you.
I couldn't think of a more horrible job if I wanted to.
This company is being bled like a stuck pig, Mac, and I got a paper trail to prove it. Check this out. Take a look at this.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Iron Seas. We got the usual captains. Hold on. There's something off here. Here we go. There we go. Yeah, we got the usual captains. A.C, Evaleighmusic, Jarrod, TJ Marquis, and R.J. William, fellow Stone brother. Oh, there's this section of applause. Nice. Hey guys. So yeah, this the crowd loves you guys. Here, let me see. It's stuck on a loop. There we go.
I'm not hearing it all right. There. That's all right. I gotta update the intro too. That's something I've been putting off, but I think it's time. We can actually go ahead and get that update going underway.
Get IT out here.
Oh yeah. Did we lose AC?
I think we did.
Fantastic. Well, I don't think Kahuna's going to be joining us tonight, and AC is the captain. I'm not to man any of this stuff. I've never been trained, so.
You get a battlefield promotion.
We'll just give one of the controls to one of you guys. It's all good though. Oh wait,
hey,
now we got
there
you
he
back.
Is.
So we usually start by
going on my.
Oh, there you go. Now you're back. Here we go.
Computer didn't like. Yeah, my computer didn't like that. But go on. What were you saying?
Oh, nothing. I was just gonna vamp until you came back. I'll let you do your thing.
All I was gonna say is the movie this week is Spaceballs. We got two great guests on, both sci-fi writers. Real quick announcement: new captain, Jarrod Christman. So chat, welcome Jarrod, and
hail everyone.
Yes. Perfect host, a close friend of the channel for a while now. Iron Age compliant, and his own movie director. So perfect for a show where we talk movies, right? Fantastic, even, and also a writer, right, Jarrod?
Yes, sir.
Do some writing. So yeah, let's say hi to the chat real quick. We got Animation Overload. If Kahuna was here, he would do the voice. And Kahuna will be here in a little bit. And we got TJ Marquis, of course. I know that guy. He's here as well. Tim McKay. Evening, friends. Evening, Tim. Hail. And let's see. We got Tim. He also says he's enjoying an audiobook. That's amazing. We need more reading in society. And yeah, I froze. It's always colder with AC. Sometimes you freeze. Sometimes you freeze. It's so cold.
Wow.
Wow. Yep. My wife's reaction sums it up. Yeah. Ah, so funny. Yeah. Okay. So, the show's usually divided into 3 parts. We start by talking about the movie each week. Then we move into the guest section, and then we do small talk or maybe go over some news and stuff at the end. We got 2 guests this week, so we'll just have 2 guest parts for the end of the show. As always, you can find all of our stuff on ironage.substack.com. Find the link tree in the description. Find these guys' stuff in the description too for some great stories and other creative endeavors, I'm sure. I mean, because everybody these days is doing all kinds of stuff. I mean, they're towing multiple pools, so to speak. But without further ado, let's go around and ask everybody how they're doing, starting with Evalie. We'll just go around that way.
I'm doing pretty good, man. I've been busy starting to grind away at these projects that have been hanging out on my checklist for a long time. And it seems like as soon as I get to doing my own stuff and I'm like, I'm not doing anything else, I'm saying no to people for a little bit, opportunities pop up. I'm just like, yes. So now I'm doing a bunch of things for other people, which is fun and cool projects, but chipping away at things. So it's always good to, get those creative juices flowing. And it's, you guys know how creating stuff is. Sometimes it's a pain and all that, but we do it because we love it. And so it is nice to be creating for other people again and just working on stuff. But Jarrod, how about you, man? How you been?
Been good, man. I've been busy. I was on a trip that ended up being extended last week, so it's good to get back home. And then all of my to-do list is comprised of finishing this stupid hen house that I'm building out here because we're expanding our chicken operation. So
nice.
That's been eating up all my time.
The hens will love you for it.
Gotta love the chicken operation. Those things are like little dinosaurs. They'll eat mice.
Yeah, they will. Yeah, they're savages. No, the sick thing is we on our way home we bought a Costco rotisserie chicken because that's what you have to. You can't go into Costco and not buy a rotisserie chicken. So apparently, and we bought one and pretty much picked it clean. You throw it in with the chickens and they will devour it.
They will.
They will tear it apart. There'll be nothing left but just like bone fragments. They have they do not care one iota.
Yeah, dinosaurs.
That bird can be tough too. I was baling some hay over the weekend, and the guy I was doing it for, the farmer, has this rooster, and the thing attacked a couple of his friends, adult men. So it was like, that's annoying. You can't do that. But then it like ran after the one guy's daughter who was like 10, and he's like, oh, we can't have that. So he took a pitchfork and he just threw that thing like, a trident, and he speared it. And he's like, okay, it'll bleed out. I'll go do something else. And he came back, and this rooster was walking around with the freaking pitchfork hanging out of his body. So he puts his foot on the thing and pulls it out. And he's like, this is what you get, man. You went after that little girl. And he like left it there. He's like, he'll bleed out and die. And the next day, totally fine. Rooster was there. So he changed his name to Rasputin.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Live for now.
He earned his life. That chicken earned his life back.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Dang, dude. Can you imagine hunting dinosaurs?
No.
Jeez.
No.
I couldn't until you said that. TJ, how you doing, man?
Yeah.
I'm doing good. There's maybe a weird sound in the background for a second here. Yeah, just working way too much. So the writing's slow, but it's happening bit by bit, working on the series, trying to finish the current one, which is Heroes Metal, which we'll talk about later. But
nice.
Yeah, other than that, taking care of my family, trying to play with my kids. I know some of you guys I think all of you guys, I don't know RJ as much, I guess, but I think everyone else has kids, right? No, Evalie, you don't? Oh, for some reason I thought you did.
I just have that energy, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Still in stud mode.
I got my first one on the way, actually.
Oh, cool. Congrats.
That's great.
Yep. So lots of work, a little bit of writing.
Heck yeah. How about you, RJ?
Such is life. Yeah, same. Lots of work. Very busy with the new kid coming. Been painting the nursery, getting it ready for little Bambino coming in a couple months. And I also just launched this little book called Call Sign Orion, written by Luke Stone, my Stone brother up there, and edited by the legendary Mike Barron. I got some little trinkets with me. Still giving away the PopSocket. Got one on my phone here. It's pretty cool. Free little thing while supplies last, with backers of physical things. Also free, you'll get the sticker here. Same thing, same image, just the first version of Orion there. Other things available I've got the Alpha Patch Magnet and the Lena Riley trading card, based on my friend Lisa Foyles, who you may know from All That and Malcolm in the Middle. She was a big inspiration for me making this project in the first place. You could also upgrade your paper, quality paper. You could see me picking up my ring light here because this is super shiny, high quality paper. It makes the colors pop. The Moss Gloss tier on the campaign page is what that'll be. So yeah, it'll be a good night to talk science fiction because you got the sci-fi guys here. I got a little Jameson to help me along. I usually,
so ready.
This is for it implies it's a bad movie, but it's actually a fun movie.
No, that's a social beverage, sir. You can't see through it completely.
This is a pirate themed. I should have rum.
But yeah, I'm super excited. The last few weeks have been bangers. Like last week we had Dragons with Tim McKay, and the show ran like 3.5 hours. It was wild.
Yeah, you guys went long.
None of us got sleep that day. So
I did.
Yeah.
I left a little early. But...
yeah, that's right. Right. But yeah, like before that it was Pulp and Noir. I mean, it was Noir, and yeah, dude, it just like we've had some really, really fun topics, and now we finally got some science fiction action going on with two guests. So I'm excited.
Noir's a genre I like. What noir did you talk about?
The movie was It's a Wonderful Life, and then we dove into then we did like a side stuff.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it
noir. It could be interpreted as, but there's definitely more fatalistic examples.
Real hard. It's
you guys
went real hard. I mean, watch Chinatown or something.
Right. We could have dove into we could have watched Nosferatu. That's horror noir in a way. Like there's a lot of films that check all the boxes of noir technically, but if you're because of the day and age we live in and how many examples there actually are, now we're allowed to like maybe have subgenres of it, or just maybe focus in a little bit more. Like you said, squint at It's a Wonderful Life, and it looks like noir.
Noir and jazz are two things I didn't expect to bond with Mike Barron over, but
really
two things I grew up around a lot. My grandpa was a jazz musician and actor in like 40s Hollywood.
That's cool.
Nice.
And like Mike Barron's apparently, I mean, he has background in music journalism, so he could talk about any genre of music, but he's also a big noir fan.
I love noir.
I wouldn't have pinned him as a jazz guy. That's interesting to hear.
Well, any genre of music he'll talk about. He's like conversant. Like John's Longbox was saying, like, oh yeah, you talk about like 80s punk rock. He knows all about it. Like
that makes
90s alternative. He knows all about it. Like he knows every genre of music.
Very cool. AC, I cut you off. What are you saying?
Oh no, that's sick. That's sick. I'm not about to interrupt any music talk, but yeah, I forgot. We dove into Pulp a little bit and found out like the history of that and stuff too, and that's really cool. And like the difference between like that and noir, because like some people could like maybe correlate them a little bit, but yeah, like just fascinating. Just diving into these well-known things that you don't actually think about every day in a little bit more detail, just to get a little context. Like, where did this come from? Like Pulp is like a combination of German, French, and Italian, and then Americans got their hands on it, and yeah, the whole thing is just I love it. But yeah. Evalie, do you got an outline for us?
I sure do. Yeah. So, couple interesting coincidences. I mean, we saw there was a trailer announced or whatever for Spaceballs 2 set to release in 2027. So we're like, oh yeah, maybe we should watch Spaceballs 1. And it just so happens that Spaceballs, the original, came out on this exact date some 38 years ago. So Spaceballs 1987. If you haven't seen this film, basically the plot summary is that Planet Druidia is in trouble. The evil air-sucking Spaceballs, led by President Scroob and the overcompensating Dark Helmet, are trying to steal all the breathable air. You enter a character named Lone Star, who is a roguish flyboy with the hair of Han Solo and the debt of a Vegas gambler. And he also has a sidekick that's half man, half dog. His best friend Barf, known as a Mog, played by John Candy. And they're trying to rescue a runaway princess, so she runs away for her wedding. They fight, they flirt, and they make ridiculous puns. A guy named Yogurt, who's a parody of Yoda, shows up. He teaches them the power of the Schwartz, which is legally distinct from the Force. There's jokes about merchandising, jokes about Druish space lasers. Oh, sorry, Druish space weddings, jokes about jokes, all the above. You get slapstick, kind of just a little of everything. Some of it sticks, some of it doesn't. And it's from the beloved Mel Brooks. Comes this ridiculous Star Wars parody, Spaceballs, starring Mel Brooks himself, who also wrote and directed it, as well as John Candy, Rick Moranis, amongst others. Budget on this thing, $22 million, and it made 38, and since then has become quite a cult classic, I would say. And that is the rundown.
What I love about that description is they just took Star Wars and made it a little different enough to be really funny, but not that different.
Right.
That's the brilliance.
Sometimes I wonder if movies like this happen because maybe Mel Brooks ran into George Lucas at a party or something, and the dude rubbed him the wrong way, or maybe they had a disagreement or a falling out or something, because it's to take it and change it just enough so it's legally okay, and then kind of just poop all over it.
Yeah.
I know it's the sincerest form of flattery and stuff, but there's also, I don't know, it is just kind of pooping on it.
The combing the desert line, that will forever be one of the best moments of parody film ever. And the guy turns around and is like, "We ain't found shit." So good.
The movie has a really awesome way of being super direct, almost it's like dad humor now is how it would be interpreted, but I don't know how it was received at the time, but man, it stands out. It's definitely Mel Brooks for sure.
I think
how many times have you guys... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I think my favorite joke is it's just the absurdist humor. And I think my favorite joke is when it's actually a Star Trek joke, which is also pretty funny. It's not even Star Wars, but it's where the president teleports, and it's Mel Brooks, and then he reappears and his ass is forward. He's like, "Why didn't anyone tell me my ass was so big?"
Yeah.
Is this a movie? Did you guys grow up watching this? Have you seen it a ton of times? I know it's one of these ones that people, whenever it comes up, most people usually light up a little bit whenever they talk about it. But I don't know if it's just people kind of saw it. When I was a kid, I saw it, but I just thought it was kind of dumb. I'd watch bits and pieces, but I never watched the whole thing. I didn't get it. And I wasn't sure if I was alone in that, or if everybody here is a diehard and this is your 3,000th viewing of it, or what.
I saw it a lot. Probably mostly on the different TV stations, I guess something like USA or TBS, those kinds of stations. So probably saw the edited version more often than the full version. But I remember all the dirtier jokes too. But yeah, I wasn't a diehard fan or anything, but I'm pretty sure I must have seen it a few dozen times because I remembered almost everything on the rewatch.
Nice.
There was a few things I forgot, and those were probably the best jokes on the rewatch, just because it's easier to laugh when you didn't know it was coming.
Yeah,
it's definitely a type of humor that seems to be the Greatest Generation's humor, where it's just really stupid jokes. Is what makes them laugh. When I saw it, I'm like, all right, it's stupid Star Wars. Now I appreciate it a little more, especially knowing more people that age. As adults, just talking to them, I understand it more. But yeah, I was with you at the first time. I was like, yeah.
The absurdist humor, yeah, and I think I was there with you guys too. At first, it's I don't know, revisiting. I can see why it is kind of a certain age group that likes this, and I suspect it was that way back then too. Basically anybody over 30 would probably just appreciate it more for some reason. It's just that I don't know, that absurdist not taking even this movie too seriously, and I don't know. if you're nerdy and you like Star Wars or even checked it out a little bit and then go to this, it's just kind of, I don't know, it's just kind of funny. I could see it being niche and people just sitting here watching it and being like, what, but that's kind of the same with like other Mel Brooks stuff, like any of his medieval stuff. They might, like, if they don't know anything about history, they're like, I don't get it, at some of the jokes.
Yeah, I think
I was 9. I was 9 when it came out, and so like I've grown up with it. And I remember being 9, 10, like when that movie comes out. Like the best thing about that movie was being able to hide your dick jokes. Because you're talking about the Schwartz,
right.
and so like, yeah, that was the kind of the late Gen Xers, one of our go-tos as the resident old guy here.
Well, I was gonna say, I think that's kind of like your age group is like the majority audience. I think that appreciates this movie, because even Mel Brooks said like this movie struck more with a younger audience that he wasn't expecting.
Yep.
But it's probably because of Star Wars, and they were the people who got it more.
Yeah, for sure.
And there is, I think there is a sliver of youth audience that's there for the cartoony aspect of the humor. Like Jarrod said, there's the hidden dick jokes, but then there's also some like oddly intellectual, like subtle adult jokes, and then like obviously the cartoony, directly on the nose, like literally that's a dick reference, right?
Combing the desert. Combing the desert.
Yeah, combing the desert, right on the nose. Yeah.
I think
I was thinking of the slap. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, anytime you do a comedy, I think it's safe to try and tick the different comedic boxes, whether it be, let's make a joke about the president and government in general. Let's do the slapstick joke where, a guy just keeps getting crashed into different objects, or his helmet gets smashed or whatever. And then let's throw in some dick jokes while we're at it too. And, just like a little bit of this and that, because there are jokes in this where I'm like busting a gut. And then there's some jokes where I'm just like cringing and shaking my head. And I feel like you could have the same joke with 5 different people and get like that variety of reactions at different points. But by doing that, there's going to be at least a joke, a handful of jokes that are going to appeal to all the different tastes in humor, I think. So what are you saying, TJ?
I was just going to say the slapstick. I'm susceptible to that myself. So even the stupidest ones, you just like got to chuckle.
Yeah,
like spitting the coffee out inside of his helmet for some reason.
And like that scene where he's just holding him back and he's just swinging the lightsaber.
Oh yeah, like he's like an adult with a little kid. Yeah,
like what am I watching right now? Yeah. So but it's still funny. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
ridiculous about it.
I have a question, because I'm trying to think. Like, I love parody films. Top Secret is hands down my #1 favorite parody film, period. I love that movie. Like, I just discovered it, I don't know, 8 months ago, and I mean, the amount of jokes per minute were fantastic. But in terms of sci-fi parodies, the only 2 I could think of were this and then Galaxy Quest. I know Galaxy Quest is a little bit different because it's more of like an actual movie, but between those 2, where do you guys fall in terms of which one is like a better parody? Because Galaxy Quest is pretty well regarded.
Yeah, I'd say Galaxy Quest is pretty strong. I'd say, like, as a story, it definitely holds up better.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, if I remember it well, I haven't seen that nearly as much, but it seems like it holds up on its own.
Yeah,
it was very good.
I think like for that movie, I think stands even outside of just being pure parody. Like it does parody a lot of the typical sci-fi TV tropes, and it's still kind of its own thing. Whereas Spaceballs is pure parody. It's pure Mel Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I get torn, because I'm like, one's a better movie, but I'm like, Spaceballs is the better parody, but I struggle to be like, Spaceballs is better in that sense.
Well, because like Galaxy Quest gets like kind of serious at one point in time, right? Like it's actually and then it like goes back into the comedy. Like it,
right?
There's like a few moments where
there are actual stakes.
Yeah, and then there's actual world building too. Like they got the cool elemental creature and stuff, like a whole planet. Like yeah, they totally could have just like completely ran away with that, like on a TV series or something if they wanted to. Maybe we dodged a bullet there as far as that goes, stretching that out. But at the same time, I do like the world building and like kind of what they were doing. It is supposed to be ridiculous though, so I just have this feeling like it would just jump the shark as far as cheesiness goes, I guess, at some point. But enough with the hypotheticals. Yeah, that's a good movie though, if I remember right.
Another question I have, because there's a lot of jokes in this movie that I don't know if I didn't get them because, I kind of know Star Trek, I kind of know Star Wars, but I'm not like I don't know those properties. So even like Princess Vespa, is her name an obvious joke that is just over my head? Was a Vespa some type of like car or something in the 80s that I'm unfamiliar with? Does anybody know why Vespa?
The Italian motorbike.
Yeah, Vespa's a scooter.
Is that,
so you ride a
I'm
scooter.
wondering, like, is that she's named after?
Yeah, I don't know if they're just being silly with that. Like, it feels like it means something, but I also don't know.
Yeah, and her dad's like this fancy, like old school medieval king, and her name's Vespa, and I'm like, what am I missing here? Is there like some kind of Italian joke? I don't know.
I think it's probably what it was. Is just playing off the making an Italian joke, really.
Town bike, Italian town bike.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
you ride a Vespa.
Like Leia, so Vespa and Leia. I'm like, okay.
That too.
Oh,
and Pizza
okay.
Hut.
So, at least according to ChatGPT, they're saying that Vespa was a vehicle that was for people that were spoiled and it was stylish. So that's okay.
There it is.
Now we're getting there.
Very
She's
subtle.
in the Mercedes like shuttle thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like it,
Like
like
all the spaceships.
Druidia. It's like druids, but then they're called Druish. So
Yeah.
And Mel Brooks is the one who wrote.
Yeah, in the scene.
Yeah, the amount of Jewish jokes.
He does that in every movie, though.
Oh
Yeah.
it's so good.
You gotta
threaten to give her a as a form of torture to get the king to hand over his password. They threatened to give her original nose back. Like, oh my gosh, they would probably never make this joke today.
No,
I like from the very beginning of this movie. It's just like right out the gate. It's goofy. Whenever they have the scroll going and the text of the scroll is funny, but the lasers are shooting in time with the music in the background, which I really appreciated. And then you have the ship crawl where it's coming across real slow, and I timed it. It's over 2 minutes of this thing just slowly going by. And then, of course, we get introduced to Colonel Sanders. It's just like, I mean, I could see the pitch meeting for this. They're sitting like, we need a name for the Colonel. I'm like, Colonel Sanders? Like, anybody else have anything? All right, Colonel Sanders it is. All right, what's next? We got to make chicken jokes. Let's keep going. And they just like, because it's like the first thing that comes to mind. It's like so dumb, but it works really well in this. And then Dark Helmet. He's got his little tie. Like his outfit is just so absurd. And of course, he uses the Force instead of Vader, who uses the Force to squish people's throats. Instead, he's squishing people's crotches with the ring.
That's fucking hilarious. I don't even care, man. That's so funny.
Yeah, really
and
so
Darth Vader did that to somebody.
I just like every time he gets worked up, they all grab their crotches because like, oh no. And of course, the power is kept in the ring because I'm sure if they just did it like Force magic, it probably would have been a little legal issue, so they had to have the Schwartz ring. I was like, it's just so silly. And I'm like, did they put those in cereal boxes back in the day? Because that would have been like a fun little thing to get, I could see wearing those and having a Schwartz battle with your brother or something.
Is that them kind of saying that the Jedi all lug around basically metal penises that have lasers come out of them? Because that's the only dick reference. Well, I suppose they're swinging basically.
Yeah, it could be a little deeper on that level. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. But
I felt like they were just making fun of the toys because they do that in another part of the movie.
Yes,
that's how Star Wars made its money. It's like, oh, we're gonna sell all this merchandise.
But the funny thing is, I don't think there actually was like any, or at least not much. Like I don't remember it being around.
Star Wars.
I think I was old enough to have noticed.
Spaceballs merchandise or Star Wars?
Yeah, Spaceballs merchandise.
Oh yeah, no, there wasn't. They were just making a joke of like, yeah, this is how they made their money in the other movie.
What a missed opportunity, though.
I don't know if you guys saw the thumbnail, but like that's official art. Like that's an official poster. It's funny. Like it's good. Like they nailed it with this parody. Like this poster alone it's actual art. Even though it's a ridiculous movie. I'm like, dude, you can like sell this poster. This is a T-shirt. This is like this goes on mugs. It goes on all kinds of shit. Like toys aside, you know. But
whenever they showed Druidia the first time, it was gorgeous. I saw it. I'm like, where the heck was this filmed? Because it's a beautiful looking, you know, landscape. And I, like, at least according to ChatGPT, Vasquez Rocks Natural Area Park, which is apparently a popular sci-fi filming spot just north of Los Angeles. I couldn't believe that was. If this is accurate, I can't believe that's in America somewhere because it looked like somewhere in Europe. It's gorgeous looking.
There's a lot of like nice, pretty nature areas not far from Los Angeles. Like if you go far enough into the hills, away from the city.
Apparently, that's where Druidia actually is.
It's always on fire, you know. Druidia's probably been.
Oh no! I forgot. Oh man, that's brutal.
You guys ever
it grows
get
back?
caught?
It's part of the ecosystem there.
You guys ever get caught playing with your toys like Dark Helmet did when he was playing with his action figures?
Yes, but only because I used to make like movies with them. We'd do stop click animation, or we'd
See,
actually
that's
like, film
cool.
them.
That's
and then
cool.
whenever you're voicing the different characters,
My
if you're
defense was like
playing characters,
Warhammer.
You're a little, you know, you're getting silly. So
My defense was like Warhammer and D&D. That what you're saying is way cooler, man. That's like what the movies. Come on.
yeah, we had a stop click action. We had a wrestling league, so we had like the little wrestling action figures, and we could only do 4 frames a second with the camera. We'd set up on the tripod, and we'd go like that, and then after it was done, we'd have to go back in and Foley in the sound and do it like one shot take, and guys are getting hit with chairs, and you know, we had like Hulk throwing up ketchup and mustard and all this stuff, but it's a good time. Maybe if I can dig them up and show them to you guys someday.
It's pretty great.
Anyways.
Dude. Yeah. Man, I'm just a sidebar. That would be hilarious to do a Little Iron Seas spoof, stop action, Little Iron Seas action figures somehow. I don't even know how it would go down. I'm sure there's a way to get clever with it, but like, I've always wanted to do a stop motion movie, man.
It's a lot of work.
If you recall, I was the Stan for Nightmare Before Christmas. Everybody was like, and I'm like, come on, it's not that emo, right?
It's pretty emo.
And,
it really is, though.
Yeah, I liked it back then.
I'll admit, I'll concede that. But yes, I love it. I love it. I group it in with Halloween movies because there could be better selections. I feel like people dip into the horror well too often and just call it Halloween. You're just like, people die here. It's Halloween, right? There you go.
I think Tim Burton was way more successful than he deserved to be.
I can see that. But Danny Elfman, on the other hand, Danny Elfman, very good musician. Very good musician.
In the movie, whenever they first introduce Lone Star and Barf, and they're driving that RV spaceship, like that cracked me up. Like it's so ridiculous. Yeah, I remember even as a kid, that was one aspect of it. I don't know, little kids like cars and stuff, so it stood out. But seeing it again, I'm just like, oh. And you know, they actually put the wings on the thing because they show a scene later where it's actually driving in the desert, and they actually built that, which is so cool. And it's got the I Heart Uranus bumper sticker. It's like... And then, of course, instead of a Jabba the Hutt, they got Pizza the Hutt,
who ate himself to death.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! And just again,
stuck in his bathroom, ate himself to death.
With the jokes, they go to like the first joke, like at the pitch table. You know, it was the first thing that was pitched out there. Like, what should we call the space money? Space bucks? All right, space bucks. Let's go with it.
Space bucks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
And then Vespa, whenever she gets in with them, she can't hear what Dot Matrix is saying, voiced by Joan Rivers, which I had forgotten her voice. Man, funny lady.
Yeah.
But then Vespa
everybody's
takes
reaction.
off the Princess Leia hairdo, and it's her headphones. I was like,
yeah,
that's pretty clever, actually. I like that.
80s.
And then, President Scroob with his Perry Air. So it's the sparkling water, but it's just air, which I'm like, that's actually kind of clever. Like, it's so stupid, but they're trying to steal the air, and so of course he has a bottle of air.
A
That's
bottle of
pretty
air.
good.
And that may be a morbid prediction for a nearby future. Right.
And then just, instead of Scotty, like, we can't call him Scotty. What do we call him so we don't get sued? They call him Snotty. And he's got like the Scottish golf hat and everything, and we can't beam him up, so we do beam him down, and then he gets flipped backwards, so he shows up and he's got his butt in the front. He's like, "Oh, nobody told me I had a huge ass." And my thing I love about that scene is after he goes through the transporter and it doesn't transport him the right way, so he's backwards. They re-transport him, and then he's like, I'm not going to take it this time. And he walks through the door like 5 feet. So they didn't need to take the transport. I love jokes like that.
It's a great joke for like the future, how technology spoils people. Like, I'll just walk. It's like 2 feet away.
Or,
ludicrous speed, go.
Yes,
Right.
the ludicrous speed was great.
Yeah,
I like whenever the gunner is shooting at them and he keeps missing like they do in the movies, but they actually explain why he would miss. And he's like, I'm trying my best. Sorry.
Yeah,
Like,
it's pretty
he's
great.
cross-eyed. Like, who is he? He's like, he's this guy's need. He's an asshole.
Okay.
And they're like, what? Am I surrounded by assholes? But it's like
So this
the
is
whole family. Then they're all That
this is a
scene was
great example. This is a great example where that on the nose, just direct, just like, oh my god, did they just do that? That kind of humor actually really worked out, and it's made it age well. Because when they're just like, boom, he's he's like, it's like a reveal that he's handicapped in some way, basically, right? Then it's it just, I don't know, watching it, it's just refreshing. Has everything really become that PC where I kind of just dive into. And Spaceballs isn't even that crazy. It's like dick and fart jokes, dude, in a Star Wars context. But like, I don't know. I want to see people like kind of go back to this well, so to speak, but maybe refine it. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
Because you could tell they were just tossing stuff out. That was all.
Yeah, it doesn't have to even be like all dirty jokes. Like a lot of them are
right.
And they're like 12-year-old dirty jokes, but they're about on that level. But it at least has some edge that you just don't really have. There's not really comedy like this now. But like that particular joke with the gunners and then the family is it's like a pretty rare, like kind of like layered stacked thing, like the kind of style that the Simpsons would do, where it rolls from one little bit into the next, and it's not just one-off joke. It's like the layers make a difference.
I would also like to see somebody kind of recreate the Family Guy formula where there's cutaways. It's in live action. I suppose you just do it like they do it, but in live action. But like, I don't know why more people haven't done that, because it clearly worked for Family Guy. I know Family Guy didn't take off right away, and it like got canceled, I think one or two times. But then like it's clearly become something.
Yeah, they did that a lot in Scrubs, which is like the same era as Family Guy, early 2000s. Where like JD's Daydreams would just be these little cutaway scenes.
Great example. Okay, yeah, I forgot about Scrubs. I like that.
But
show.
like same era, so like it was popular back then, but no one does it now.
Interesting.
You know what? One thing with Spaceballs that I did not appreciate when I was younger, that then seeing it years later, I realized what was happening, was when they're in the cantina and the dude at the bar who has the alien pop out, that's actually John Hurt from Alien.
Yes, that's right.
And like I remember years later, I was watching Spaceballs. He was like, "Holy crap! It's the guy from Alien. That's the actual guy." So it's like one of those things I just missed as a 9-10-year-old kid.
Oh, right there with you, man.
Yeah, I had no idea.
I didn't get it. I thought they were talking about like the soup or whatever. And I'm like, what do they serve at this bar? Going back there.
Yeah, that's right, because they kept complaining about the soup. That's right. Had nothing to do with it. Yep. I guess they needed a reason to have an alien pop out of John Hurt in a diner. So
that's so awesome.
Just a bad soup.
That's a WB thing.
Yes.
Like vaudeville jokes. There's a handful of them, and I think it's just because I'm sure that was the kind of humor entertainment.
Well,
that
we had it
Mel
for
Brooks
so
grew up with.
long. Like for a lot of the 20th century, that was the WB mascot, and I didn't even think that would be. I didn't get it as a kid, but like Dave Chappelle, I remember him saying like, he obviously had like a show people consider offensive.
Yeah.
And even he said like, that's a super racist thing. I'm like, what are you talking about? Then I realized later, like, oh, that's blackface. That's from jazz history. That's why they have it.
Yeah, I had no idea either. One of the things in this, I always appreciate anytime movies can come up with something original that characters do, and then kids take it and emulate it, and it becomes like a part of their personality. I mean, I can recall asking my friends like, "Yo, give me some paw," and then doing the "ooh," that thing where they're doing their secret little handshake between Barf and Lone Star. It's like it wasn't a big fan of the movie, but I remember doing that. I was like, oh yeah, it's a cool handshake me and my friends can do. And then another reference too. You're talking about John Hurt being in it. Of course, they bring in what's his name? And what's the guy's name who makes the sound effects? Otherwise, she yelled at me for consulting Skynet for information, so I'm going to her for this one. Is it Winslow? Something Winslow? He's from Police Academy.
Yeah, the guy from Police Academy.
They hit the radar with literal jam, like a giant container of jam to jam the radar.
We've been jammed.
Yes, it's so dumb. And it comes through, and they hit it with strawberry, and the guy tastes it. He's like, it's raspberry jam. But it's the Police Academy dude, and he's doing all the different sound effects, so it was cool to see him. Like, I know that guy, because Police Academy is another movie. I haven't seen it since I was a kid. Michael Winslow, thank you, AO. I haven't seen it since I was a kid, but I knew who he was, because as a kid, that's the one part of that movie when it was on TBS or TNT. Then I'm like, that guy can do cool voices, and then, you try to emulate those, so it's cool to see him in this as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Lone Star, they get Vespa. She doesn't look Druish. Like,
she doesn't look
again,
Druish.
As a kid, right over my head. I had no idea.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
With the ludicrous speed, which I thought that was pretty funny, but they go plaid. I didn't understand what that meant. What does it mean to go plaid? Is that like a space joke? I've heard of like at certain speeds, red turns green or green turns red or something. I'm like, is that the joke there?
TJ, you had a good comment on that in the chat.
Yeah,
right?
well, you might be maybe playing around with the red shifting and blue shifting.
Yeah.
That would go over most people's heads, like then and now. But I just thought it was because you always see the reflection of the hyperspace on people's faces, and so would it be funny if it's like a stupid pattern?
I bet you that's it. I'm sitting here like, what science? They're referencing some kind of quantum physics I don't know about yet, and they're like, no.
It's possible. It's entirely possible, but I doubt it.
It's also possible they wanted you to think that. It could just be like, wouldn't it be funny if there's a stupid pattern on there?
Dude, that has to be why Elon Musk has that like why Tesla has a plaid. They have but it's like a plaid package for some of their models.
It's gotta be.
He would do.
It does kind of sound like something from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, when they're traveling and they become yarn or whatever.
I like one of the jokes they did too. One of the jokes they do is with the instant cassettes. So they break the fourth wall to see where the story is going by getting the video of it and fast forwarding it, and then they can see themselves in the scene. I'm like, that's such a good joke. And then they're advertising all the other Mel Brooks movies, like scrolling across. And it was just like, I don't know. I like stuff like that. That was
when will then be now?
Was that the scene too where they do the whole who's on first bit? And
Basically,
it's like that bit one for one, but just reworded. So that was a good scene. Then of course the Dark Helmet with his little safari hat with opens up the front. It's just like it's so dumb. And of course that gets to the scene then where they're combing the desert.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's one of the big ones for sure. Did you guys catch the Planet of the Apes sequence?
Yeah. That wasn't even like parody. It was like just basic. I mean, it looked like the same special effects and everything.
Yeah. They just straight up went to the Planet of the Apes planet.
Yogurt has a gift shop. He's just like opens up that wall in that old temple to show him stuff.
Yogurt. I found Yogurt. The Yogurt's performance actually better now as an adult. Like I don't know what it is. It seems kind of more timeless. Like I don't know what it is, but like the way the guy's acting or something, it doesn't come off as 80s as everything else does. You know how you can just tell when people are acting in an 80s movie. Something about his lines and stuff. It just didn't. It seemed very ahead of its time, I think. That's what I'm getting at.
Whenever towards the end where they're back onto the big ship that transforms into the Statue of Liberty with the vacuum cleaner, there's two characters that are only in the movie for like a minute, and they're two of my favorite characters in it, where they're just like, hey, you can't park there. Yeah. Like just like
That's
the
right.
way that they deliver their lines, it stands out. Like you were saying, everybody feels like 80s actors.
Mhm.
These guys felt modern. It felt like it was two guys from like the 2010s that were just transplanted into the scene. And it's so good. I rewatched it like 3 times. You can't park there. Yeah, it's just oh, it's fantastic. And then they catch the princess singing, and they're like, oh, she's a bass. It's just like another dumb thing. Like, let's just have her sing really low for no reason. And then they capture their stunt doubles, which is another great like silly, Hollywood movie making thing. Just like later on, one of the fights going on where they're comparing their Schwartzes, and they accidentally slash the sound guy.
That's one of the best.
Yeah, it's like the camera pans too far over, and you can see like the whole crew there filming it. I love that.
I love those like fourth wall breaking jokes. Like they do that in Blazing Saddles, where there's a chase, and then they end up in a different sound stage, and then they end up fighting the guys that are in like a musical.
Yeah. Real quick. Ultimate Kahuna, Captain Kahuna says, "I've been replaced," which you know what that means.
Raider!
Man, so much missed opportunity with that character.
Yeah, dude. And now he's kind of anti-Disney, and like it's weird. He's back and forth. He's back.
Fan. He's just a weird guy.
Yeah. He's like all over
Weird,
the place.
yeah.
You could have
way to burn down everybody's goodwill.
Right.
Yeah. And
Maybe
he could have
they'll get him in
really.
Spaceballs too.
We had so much hope for his character. We didn't know who he was as an actor. We just had so much hope. What a disappointment.
And to be honest, everybody wanted him to be the Jedi. Let's be honest.
Everyone wanted him to be the lead, and like we're
Yeah.
like a stormtrooper who joins rebellion. That's got to be a cool story. Nope, they drop it immediately.
Yeah.
The fans were all like, we're all like, okay, this is kind of weird at first, but you know what? That guy's kind of cool. Yes. We all know what he looks like, and what you're trying to do, and what you're gonna claim, and all this stuff. But we kind of like it, so keep going. And then just that
They
didn't happen.
immediately drop it. Yeah.
That did not happen. Yeah, they're like, instead look at all this other dumb shit.
I knew as soon as he escaped that ship with Poe that it was gonna be a dumb movie, because they're like instant friends. Like, oh, my name's Poe, my name's Finn. Hey, buddy, let's go to this planet. Like, suddenly they're like little kids, and like it's just a really dumb adventure. They drop all the depth. So yeah, it's like they changed writing teams or something. I don't know.
Maybe they agree with Dark Helmet and his infamous speech in this movie where he says, "Good is dumb."
That actually gives me a good idea. That gives me a good idea here. I just asked Garak to look up the top 10 Star Wars scenes based on popularity, and maybe we can surmise some of the scenes that will be in the next Spaceballs movie, and maybe we can criticize some of these real quick before we move into the guest section. Because I mean, Spaceballs classic. I mean, I'm gonna float it. I'm pretty sure it's. I don't know how you guys are feeling. You want to go around and say your pieces quick while this is loading up, and what do you guys say? I say float.
Yeah, I'll jump in next. A couple more things. I like the part where they're trying to cancel the countdown, and it doesn't work. And he's like, "Even in the future, nothing works."
It's so true.
God, it's so true. The amount of times I fight with my computer. That was good. Pizza the Hut eats himself. It's like, it's so stupid. And then we mentioned the John Hurt with the alien popping out. That was great. Planet of the Apes joke towards the end as well. For me, it's like Rick Moranis. I like watching his movies. John Candy's a good time. There's some silly bits. And parodies, they don't make parodies anymore. Like, I can't remember the last time a parody came out. And they were kind of not great for a while, where you had like Epic Movie and Date Movie, not another teen movie. But I would still prefer bad parodies to no parodies, because it's one of my favorite movie genres. So, yeah, this is definitely, it's not a skyship for me, but I definitely enjoyed it quite a bit. Absolutely afloat.
Sick.
Yeah, I give it a float. Just for the growing up with it as a part of my youth culture. So floats for me.
Nostalgia float. What about you, TJ?
Yeah, I'd say float too, because it's actually it's a pretty good sci-fi movie despite the ridiculousness. It just, the comedy itself allows for some of the more difficult like plot points to be gotten past. Like it's like a crutch to get over those, and you just kind of let it slide because it's funny. Like the plaid thing, taking him off course. So okay, we lost the bad guys for a while. Now we have some time to go do some other stuff, right? And just like that kind of thing happens a whole bunch of times. And it was pretty funny.
That gives me another really quick thought before we get into RJ's vote. The plaid thing. It's a great example of how they didn't really care if people got it or not, which leads me to have other suspicious thoughts like they didn't care if the movie succeeded. They were just having fun. They wanted to do this, right? So that tells me it probably wasn't edited very much either, and that actually explains a lot when you think about it. Like why aren't we seeing a bunch of Spaceballs t-shirts, just as many as Star Wars throughout all the years? Well, it's because they didn't care. They just made this for fun. It's from the looks of it on the outside. But I don't know, random thought. What about RJ? What do you think? Sink or float?
Say sink. I'm just kidding. I had to be there. No, a float. It's big float. This one's easy. It's classic. I do not love it. Like I think the brilliance of it, like in the very beginning, from the very start, it's a lot like Star Wars, but they tweak it enough to be different to the point of absurdity, where it's actually really funny, but it's still just like it, which is part of why it's so funny. Yeah, it's brilliant. I say float. My favorite jokes: why is my ass so big? And then the enormous shit that you're introduced to it with like the 2-minute, just like seeing the side of it, and then at the end, like you see it transform into a giant vacuum made with a vacuum cleaner. They're sucking the atmosphere out of this planet that has like a glass shield, and it's also silly, but it's fun.
Oh, what's this? It seems we have an incoming transmission from Disney. It's a trap. And this is what they think of our float analysis.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, like wasn't that the plot of the Marvels?
Sucking the air out of a planet?
Yeah. I never watched that movie, but I heard people talk about like that was what the villain was trying to do, was go through and like suck the atmosphere off of all these planets.
That would totally
that would be hilarious though. I haven't seen it, but that sounds really funny.
That would factor into its failure. If people are like,
Skynet
this is the plot of Spaceballs. Like, then yeah.
Dimensional rip in space.
Yeah.
Yeah. So someone in the chat tell us if that's true, because I refuse to watch Disney stuff anymore.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Kahuna with the juicy tidbit. Them not having merchandise was part of the deal with George Lucas.
Oh man, come on, George.
But then they still make fun
George.
of it in the movie. They had fake
That's crazy.
What if that
Can't
fake
stop the
merchandise
fans.
sold for lots of money because it's super rare?
Well, George Lucas, what if I just print it myself? Oh shit, damn. I got a Spaceball shirt and you didn't consent to it. Oh no. Anyway,
you can get a replica Schwartz
for
$30.
Right.
Mel's gonna slap a copyright check on that. A crowdfund of Spaceballs thing.
Now is that true though, or did he get it from Skynet?
Did Skynet tell you that, Kahuna? We're inquiring here. He says, sanity and joy were stolen from the audience by the Marvels. It's so true. Yeah. Anyway, I'll give him a minute to respond here.
What is Kahuna doing? Why is he not in here?
He's taking a dad W tonight. So, yes, he has a dad win, and we appreciate you just even being in the chat, buddy. But yeah, he's here with us, so it's cool. It's cool.
You can never have enough Kahuna.
Exactly. Han Solo's death. You think they'll kill? Who is Han Solo? I forget. I'm spaced on the guy's name again. Lone Star? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yep.
You think they'll kill him?
That would
No,
be
I bet
if they did.
I bet they goof on it. But they totally goof on it. It's like
they got
die.
What, was I gonna die or something? I'm a main character. Yeah. That'd be, okay. Let's see. We got We got the throne room battle, where if you recall right, it's this super impressive cinematography where it's like the camera's floating back like this, just a slow pan back, and you got it's slowly revealing more and more crazy shit, and they're jumping around like ninjas, and it's like male and female, evil and good, and they're standing back and they're fighting, and it's all epic. But then when you slow it down and look, you can see that they didn't even try with the rehearsal. Like some of the dudes, they go to hit them, and like they're not there because they're not doing the proper rehearsal, and then they just like fly back without anybody hitting them, and it's like that. So it's like one of those revealing scenes where it looks beautiful at first, especially if you're watching in 2x speed, Evaleighmusic. But then when you like take a second look at that, you're like, dude, that guy just flew back by himself. He was not even fighting them. You know what I mean?
A little aside with that though, I see this is modern day, like what they call it, EFAP culture, where if you take pretty much any scene and go frame by frame, some do look good, but I'm like, if it looks good at normal speed as it's happening, the execution probably could have been better. But I think there's like going back and being like, well, if you watch it at 1/10 speed, you can actually see the sword misses the guy by an inch or whatever. I don't know how bad, maybe the fight is really bad and I'm speaking out of turn, but I've seen some scenes where even like Superman more recently, like, look at his arms look weird. I'm like, that was like one frame out of like 20,000. I didn't even catch that. It's only by pausing it and being like, look how ridiculous this frame looks. I'm like, it does look ridiculous, but in the context of the movie, I don't think anybody would be able to pick up on, unless people can see more frames per second than I can. But anyway, that's my
I've only
side
seen
rant.
The Last Jedi one time, and I won't subject myself to that again. So
Right.
It's hard to prove you wrong.
Yeah, pretty much gets worse every time.
Okay, well,
Actually,
what
But
about?
chat's right. One of the daggers disappears.
Yeah, dude,
really?
I'm telling you,
Because if it didn't, she would have got stabbed in the face.
Oh.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, where'd it go?
Okay,
yeah,
maybe I'm
exactly.
wrong. Maybe it's worse than I'm remembering then.
So bad.
Disney really thought that people just would not be watching every frame of the beloved franchise that you purchased from America, basically, not from George Lucas. Like, oh man. So yeah, every frame, and yeah, they're gonna see that. They're gonna see the weapon disappear. But yeah, what about the introduction of Kylo Ren? You know, it still sticks with me. Because I'll be honest with you guys, I didn't hate the movies at first, but then it's like you rewatch it a couple times and you start picking up on things you missed the first time around. Like I saw it in theaters, I was like super stoked. I'm like, Star Wars is in movie theaters again. It's all really exciting. We're all nervous to see where it goes, kind of thing. And I like was neutral net positive about it at first. And yeah, that scene at first where he like catches the laser with the Force, that's freaking badass and stuff.
Yeah,
and, like
I dug
it's
that.
the reveal of Kylo Ren, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't, the first wasn't like the absolute worst, but then they for sure just like pooped it into the ground.
Yeah, I agree. It's like somewhere like 5-10 minutes into the first movie is where it gets bad. It starts off pretty strong, I think, and then it's that scene where they escape.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, now this movie's just given up and it's going to be dumb.
Yeah.
And it's all downhill from there.
It got silly. Yeah, it's when it started making jokes. I remember. So like, I wanted those movies to be good. Like I wanted it so bad.
Everybody
that I actually defended The Force Awakens, and I even defended what was the second one?
The Last Jedi?
The Last Jedi.
Oh, you were really drinking the Kool-Aid.
Until the second time I watched it, and I watched it the second time, and I remember watching it the second time, and I just kept getting more and more pissed off each time.
Yeah, dude.
And like, just like by the time the Rise of Skywalker came around, I was just furious. I was so mad. And then like I watched The Force Awakens again, and just like all of that stuff. I remember like this. It was like the little me on my shoulder was just like, you let that slide the first time you watched it. You let that slide the first time you watched it. And it was like all of these things I was letting slide because I wanted it to be so good.
Right.
It's good to notice that though.
Yeah, but like that's what made it such a betrayal, because it's like I was willing to put up with so much, because I wanted it to be good, and then
they fucked up, Jarrod.
Kept going with it, just kept
fucked
going
up
with
so
it.
hard.
They just had to make it not horrible. That's all they needed to do, and I think people would have let a lot slide, and they couldn't even just make it not terrible.
You know what clip? You know what clip I need to save? The Power of Manny. Because we should seriously, guys, never let them forget. Don't just like.
Yeah,
I know it's tempting to just let this fall back into the abyss of history, and you can forget about this terrible shit, and eventually they'll go into the old republic and maybe be based and try to appeal to the core audience again, or they'll just fuck it up some more. But it's important to really embarrass them.
Yeah.
Will it ever get good again? Because I actually heard from a ton of people. Everybody's like, "Oh, Andor's so good," and then there was one other person.
Okay.
Yes,
it doesn't
talked to
suck,
somebody else, and they were
but
like,
I wouldn't call it good.
I saw so many people that I agree with, like 65% of the time, maybe 70%, that were like, "Wow, it's so good." You know, some of the bigger names on YouTube you guys would probably be familiar with, and then I forget who I was talking to, a person I actually know, and they were like, "I didn't finish it."
It was all right.
Yeah,
it's like Jarrod said. Sometimes you just want to enjoy it, and and you let things slide because you just want to tune out and have fun. Makes you like stupid stuff though sometimes.
Oh yeah, sometimes for sure. And you think about just like such a waste of characters that if you gave them the proper treatment over a film trilogy, could have been really compelling and really engaging, and they just pissed it away. Like Finn, like that could have been an amazing character, especially like if like I would have even gone so far had he been handled properly. I would have gone so far as to accept him being force sensitive.
Yeah, everybody.
Like I would have accepted that if they'd set it up right.
Jarrod, what we had here is a certain group had enough money and resources to purchase more culture because there was a culture grab up. I don't know when it started. It's still happening, to be honest. It's like just because we're aware of it doesn't mean they're just going to stop grabbing up, especially when they keep getting money in various ways. But what you had is you had like BLM over here with like in like their dark armor, and they got their cool purple lightsaber, and then you got feminism over here with their pink lightsaber, and they're like, it's Rey, right? Okay, so like, and actually feminism smote down BLM, and then that's who the main character was, and I think it's because of who was running the show, Mrs. Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah,
I think she's at her core. That's who's going to win.
Rey and the other one, what's her name?
If you got those two devils, the devil and angel on your shoulder, she's gonna designate them differently, I think, than the next person. And that's what she values more, is the female. And like you said, I think the mostly male core audience probably would have related to, you know what I mean? This is the problem Disney runs into a lot, is they're trying to kind of force. I know you're trying to, there's this whole like marketability thing, but there's also this thing where you probably shouldn't just like try to force people to like something and then gaslight them when they don't. Like,
Chris Gore says that all the time with Disney. It's like the reason they failed is because Disney bought, because like all Bob Iger's good at doing is buying stuff. Like he can't fix anything, and he's not a creative. He's just he's a corporate guy who just buys shit. The problem is like you can't buy a male brand, a male centric brand, and then flip it to a girl. That's like trying to buy. It's like if you bought Carhartt and then tried to make lingerie.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
but that's the ideology, because like Kathleen Kennedy isn't going to acknowledge that fact. She's going to say, "Well, that's just culture, and we're going to change the culture." But it doesn't appeal.
Yes.
Like just biologically, ontologically, it doesn't appeal to the female audience. And then the male audience that like that IP was like, "What are you doing?" But I think it's very much like Marvel and DC right now too. Like I was just talking to John's Longbox. Don't shun me for talking to him. No, just kidding. But he was talking about how he was in Twitter talking to someone from Marvel, and they're like, "Well, sorry, the comic books you liked aren't as good as they were when you were 10." And he's like, "That's ridiculous. You're giving up." But I said, "Well, it's worse than that, John, because back then they cared about writing a good story, and now they're like, well, you're a white guy in his 50s who wants a good story? No, screw you. We're gonna, indoctrinate your kid." That's their whole purpose now, because that's what they view the medium as. That's what they think it's good for. Yep. They don't even see it as a storytelling mechanism.
And
but none of their sales.
They've spent a good decade, maybe 15 years. You go first.
Go ahead. Yeah, I was just you started a point and then froze, so I was just hopping in. But like the problem is the thing that really blows my mind is that there is financial failure across the board, and it's not been enough. Like how many billions do you have to or can you lose before you have to course correct?
Well, they're not getting that USAID money anymore, so they'll probably course correct now.
We can hope.
It's like how much money do you got to burn before you get the car back on the road? Like how destroyed do you want the car to be? Because we can just keep going until there's no car. You know what I mean?
If they come back and they hit an absolute home run, though, like how many home runs do they have to hit before they get enough good faith back where people are like, all right, I'll come back? Because there's a lot of people that are just like, canceled Disney Plus or whatever years and years ago and don't even think about it. And it's just been sewage for those years. So like, I wouldn't miss anything. It's just horrible. So
yeah, I would love to know what the data on the alternate from like a parallel universe is where Disney Plus without Bluey, like how much their numbers drop.
It just falls off.
Yeah,
dude. I swear to God, they're probably making sock puppet accounts. They're probably making like 1,000 sock puppet accounts, all just like with permission to upload Bluey clips, and then they just farm YouTube, and it's probably just YouTube passing a buttload of money straight to Disney. It's crazy, dude, and it's all ad money. Yeah. So, what I was gonna say is they've to RJ's point, they've also spent like the last decade very carefully curating who's in charge of all this stuff and like who's writing the stories, and then kind of very carefully tweaking the whole engine and very carefully getting certain people out the door, and then getting new people in, and very, very carefully and slowly changing the culture behind the scenes for a long time. So it's like, yeah, that's why all they could say is, "Oh, I'm sorry you don't like it." Well, it's because they feel like they won, because like it doesn't matter if you like it or not. That's why they're just sorry you don't like it.
It's not like what were you going to say, TJ?
Well, to that, it would be very hard to break in right now. Anybody who's tried to self-publish, and I'm sure in comics too, knows this. But before, I was just going to say, I think if they really nailed one Star Wars movie, that's all it would take to get most people back, because they just want to enjoy it. So I don't know, maybe so like the ideal world I think would be if Spaceballs 2 just puts it to Star Wars bad enough that they're embarrassed, right? And they're like, we just got to fix it, and then the next one is just insanely good. So they can't be made fun of anymore.
Mel Brooks, you have a chance that you're holding a lightning bolt in your hand, and Disney's standing right over there. You could just kind of like just do it right. Don't drop it. Don't just release it in a random direction. Aim it right over there.
The fate of Disney Star Wars relies on a 98-year-old man.
But
it's not going to happen. But
better hands than it is now, I guess, right?
Yeah.
But there's enough budget probably, and like enough capability with the budget that they could make a movie that would be comparable, like in quality, instead of the jank. Like I didn't notice the quality of Spaceballs when I was a kid, and not much anyway. I didn't care. You can tell though that it's pretty cheap. when you rewatch. But Spaceballs 2 doesn't have to be like, it could be like more like the Galaxy Quest thing, right? It could be something that could stand on its own, but is also like really biting.
Yep. And I mean, the CGI and the extra scenes in like the Austin Powers movies, for as cheesy as they were, they get the job done, right? We've seen enough recent examples of sci-fi basically copying Star Trek, these kind of things, doing side scenes, and it's fine, great, whatever. You know, oh, I can tell that's CGI, but it's not like toys flying around on a green screen, right? That kind of thing. Which, by the way, some of the spaceship scenes actually weren't that bad in the Spaceballs movie, to be honest. If he was communicating with Lucas, that was probably part of the deal too. Like, okay, we won't do merchandise and we'll totally shoot ourselves in the foot, but you gotta pull some of that sweet Star Wars animation team action. Like, give us one of your guys. Doesn't even have to be the best guy. Give us number 3. Give us the third guy. And that's probably what happened. but yeah. Anyway. Any last thoughts before we move to the guest portion?
Now let's get into something better than Star Wars.
Yes, please. This is so depressing.
Yeah. These have all been things we know. Oh, real quick, some honorable mentions. The Holdo maneuver. You can see them making some sort of phallic joke. We don't have to get into depth, but Yoda's Force Ghost. Yogurt's Force Ghost, right? Yogurt's Force something. I don't know. Luke Skywalker returns. I forgot who the stand-in for Luke was. But yeah, there's some juicy scenes they could just mine. They could just do what I did, look up the top 10 and start mining these scenes, and then make scenes to lead to these other scenes, and piece together the movie that way. People would love it. Just shit on all these scenes.
Oh yeah.
People would love it. Luke's sacrifice. Have somebody die. There's so many dumb deaths, man.
You could just have some guys fighting, and then suddenly one's a hologram. It's not even a force thing. It's just a hologram.
Oh yeah, I'm an AI. Yeah, totally. Yeah, because then they could have it look identical to Star Wars. Like it's a Force ghost. But then no. I'm not a ghost. I'm a hologram, right? Like, and they could hang a lantern on that.
Thing. Like, he's just somewhere else.
Yeah. So, for legal reasons, I'm a hologram. See, here's my emitter. It's this floating ball here or something.
That'd be perfect.
But yeah, so we'll go into the guest portion here. Let's see if I got a clip for that. But we'll start with, let's do this.
To make fine music, allow me. Music.
I don't know. It's funny to me. That's what happens when I try to make music. But yeah, we'll start with RJ William. You got a campaign going, right?
I do. Call sign Orion. It's a dystopian science fiction in the spirit of Starship Troopers and Brave New World. Got a little Battlestar Galactica thrown in. I do have my own toys, by the way. They're not up on the campaign right now. They weren't as popular as the trading card with the pretty lady. I don't know why.
Here, hold that up. Yeah.
Just slap her on the toys. Nice. There you go.
Yeah, so this is the F-26 Aerostar. It's the ship that the Alphas fly, which is in the book. It's up on the campaign page. You'll see.
Ooh, 12-year-old me would have been all over those toys, dude. I was playing Star Fox 64.
Yeah.
Wishing I had something like that to just pretend fly around. Oh my god, dude, 12 years
old. Well, I totally made these for myself, honestly. Like, yeah. Inspired by the R-Wing, you could tell, and a little bit of the Viper from Battlestar Galactica. So I painted this one as best I could, so like you could tell, like they're very much the same.
Wait, so there is some like R-Wing Star Fox action going on there?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's why I say it's like Starship Troopers. It's like got the basic vibe and like angle of sci-fi angle of Starship Troopers with like the seriousness and the intellectual part of like Brave New World, but it's got like the fun action of Battlestar Galactica. So that's how I would basically describe it.
Good combo.
Yeah.
So it is more of a serious story.
It's more of a serious story, but very action driven, and
Okay,
action driven comic book. So I didn't forget to have fun. Everyone who's read the script said, "Oh yeah, that was a lot of fun."
Nice.
Oh, cool.
And this is the script you said this was edited by Mike Barron, correct?
That's correct.
Good deal.
Yep. So it follows Orion. He's the main character. He leads a team of basically their version of Navy SEALs. It's 1,000 years in the future in this universe, and they're called Alphas, and they're like basically a fighter squadron and like what you would think of like as like Navy SEAL team. And they're on a mission to rescue some hostages. The bad guys are demanding the release of their leader, who's like kind of a brilliant strategist, like mastermind, and the good guys don't want to let him go, so they're sending in the SEALs, the Alphas, to kick some butt, rescue the hostages. One of the hostages happens to be Orion's girlfriend, so little personal stakes there. Yeah, that's the basic gist of it.
Very cool. What's the what can you tell us about these guys? The guy in the middle here obviously looks like a human, I assume, right?
That's the leader. That's Orion. He's the main dude. On his left there is Sirius. He's a Seraphor, so it's like a alien hybrid like species that human beings tinkered with. You could tell by his like a mohawk and probably like the shape of his face. He's kind of inspired by Jocko Willink. He's like a Navy SEAL type alien, basically. He's Orion's right hand dude.
Of the mission.
Yeah. And the other. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna make dumb Jocko jokes. So.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I get like sweet Panthro vibes from him.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like that's Thundercats, right?
Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Thunder. Hey-oh!
And that dude's Scorpion. He's kind of like the Falco character, you could say, on the team.
Gotcha.
He thinks he should probably be the leader. He's definitely a badass dude. Has more of a hard time following.
He's Vegeta, kind of.
I'm not familiar with that one.
Oh, sorry, Dragon Ball Z. There's always a Falco or a Vegeta or like a Knuckles, you know.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The heavy.
Yeah, or like just like the Edgelord, you know, whatever.
Dude,
Yeah.
so can we nerd for a little bit? Like can you walk us through like the suits? There's suit mechanics and stuff.
Oh, absolutely. So the technology that makes the suits work, and same as their ships, the F-26 Aerostar. So in this universe, we've made contact with like aliens that are way more intelligent and advanced than we are, and they're from another galaxy. They're from the Andromeda Galaxy. They're super ancient. There's so many different variations of them based on their evolution and their wars and stuff. But they've gifted us some of this technology. So their ships have it, their suits have it. And they have like these brain chips that Elon Musk would love, but the suits link with the brain chips, so they can control their ships and their suits just with their thoughts. So their suits were like their helmets fold, unfold. They could store weapons in their suits. They could fly in their suits. So basically, battery powered like energy suits that they could use to fly, and they're charged by the ship when they're in the ship. And they could also control the ship remotely with their thoughts. So it's like they're their own like airstrike, basically.
Kind of reminds me of a little bit of Dune, because Dune kind of was. I mean, it's not the same, obviously, for those who know Dune, but Dune was trying to incorporate some of that biological, mental aspect to the space travel. So I like that. And Captain Kahuna asks, "Are the aliens afraid of humans?"
No, definitely not.
All right. Well, vice versa then. Are humans then regarded as like puny?
Yes. So like the aliens have been kind of like benevolent to humans, and they've sort of taken sides in like the humans like feuds. So some support the other guys, some support our side.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. But like when it comes down to it, do they view us as just like deer? Or is it?
No, I wouldn't say they regard us as insignificant.
You know what I mean?
They definitely see us as valuable for reasons unknown / unexplained that I know. But It's not going to be made obvious, and they do influence us, but they don't disregard us.
So there's politics, but not like heavy racial bigotry between or speciesal.
Not that. Yeah, it's not like Star Wars where like they walk into a bar and like, your droids aren't welcome here. I don't take
Your skin disgusts me, human.
Yeah, we
The
don't have
tentacle
that.
face guy.
There is like a joke where like, cause like obviously like these different species you see here are from different planets. So like there's kind of a joke where like they're on Earth, and like obviously like the bug guy being from a desert planet, he likes the hot rocky part of where they are. And then the guy from the ice planet, he's like, it's way too hot here. I'm not even. They're like on vacation. He's like, it's totally uncomfortable. I'm gonna just like, he's like a husky dog basically. So he decides like to hide in the water for a while. He's way more comfortable in there.
Cool off. Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
I like that you said it in a 30-25 too, because we watched like, oh man, there's a handful of movies we watched recently, and they're like, the year is 2020, and I'm like, this is not close to.
Oh yeah,
just set it like 1,000 ahead, so you can do whatever you want. Like
just to be safe. Yeah, just be safe
yeah.
about it.
So I'm like, oh yeah, okay.
Give yourself some buffer there.
Yeah,
I feel like.
really.
Okay, as sci-fi authors, and TJ, you can weigh in on this too. Between the two of you here, this question's for both of you. As sci-fi authors, do you ever like? Do you think it's because they feel like they will need to do world building to bridge that gap? Like if you say 1,000 years versus. They're like you see these movies were made in the 80s. It's only set like 100 years in the future at best, and that's being generous sometimes. Like Blade Runner is 2020 or 2019 or whatever. It's pretty crazy. Do you think they do? They don't? Do you think that those people didn't set it far enough ahead, like 1,000, 2,000? Heck, do 15,000 years. Who cares?
Yes,
right?
you can.
Do you think it's
so
because
like
of that?
Yeah, I think that plays a part because like it is more work you have to do to fill in that gap, which I think is fun, and it gives you so much leeway to do whatever you want. Like or you could do what Isaac Asimov did, like go like 20,000 years in the future. People don't even remember Earth, and like you could just fill in the gaps with whatever you want because people barely know their own history. So it's like, it's kind of blank, but we'll fill it in as we go. I did a thing like in roughly the next 1,000 years. I started from like today and worked my way over. I put some of that on my Substack and my YouTube. If you want, it's like a 4-minute video or whatever. I could like, I don't know. I don't want to take up too much time in your stream, but if you want, I could send that into like the private chat.
Okay. What is that?
It's just like I wrote like, it's very like AI images and voice, but it's like the basically backstory just for like entertainment people who are following on my Substack, a little extra like Easter egg to know more of the backstory of the story. Yeah.
Like a primer?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, if you'd, yeah, I mean, let's see.
It's probably
how
like
long
pops
is it?
up
Just a few minutes, like a trailer, basically, or is it like
it's like a 4-minute
length?
deal, probably. Yeah. What am I doing?
Okay.
It's a lore vid.
Different computer. It is a lore video, so yeah, it'll probably pop up pretty early under my videos.
Yeah, we can dive into a little bit of lore.
Oh, here we go.
What channel do I search?
You just do the RJ Williams.
You got it?
Probably getting feedback. Yeah, let me. I'll pop the link in the private chat for you.
Perfect. There we go. Yeah, and then I'll just keep scrolling your campaign here while we do that.
Perfect. Sorry, my mouse is really.
A little lore video, and then we'll move on to
go.
TJ's stuff after that.
Cool.
After the lore video here.
Yeah, I was gonna say
yeah,
that.
Anybody listening? Oh yeah, you go.
Oh, just if you go far enough in the future, it doesn't even matter. Like you don't have to explain that much because like you said with the Asimov thing, people don't even remember stuff, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it almost seems like it would be a default to me. That's why I ask. You know what I mean? Why wouldn't you kind of just start at like the thousands marker? Don't even worry about hundreds. Like just start at 1,000, because by the time the world catches up to that, you can be forgiven. It's not like Blade Runner.
If your stuff's even around.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that's another thing we don't really account. We think it's going to be around forever, but it's like, no, everything's on like databases on the internet. We're actually more fragile than ever. Steel and metal and stuff essentially melts in the rain, and like the wind and stuff. Just like nature eventually breaks through streets and buildings, and like we see that, saw that in real, a lot faster than we thought too. We saw that in real time with Michigan. I forgot, Detroit. Where were all the cars made?
Yeah,
was that
Detroit.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And some
See,
places
we don't
in
even remember
Russia,
our own
too.
history wasn't that long ago. Where are all the cars made way back when?
Case in point. Yeah. Russia too, with like Chernobyl.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and so he's 100% right. You start at like 1,000 years. Heck, that might even be enough time for people to be like, we discovered these ancient ruins, and it's just like a skyscraper or like the Eiffel Tower, and that's all that's left. And that could very well be the case. Like you could, maybe it's just me. I think of 1,000 ways to explain it away. Oh, war kept humanity stupid for 1,000 years. Like literally, usually war propels technology, but something happened where everybody just stayed the same for 1,000 years. If that's what you really need it to be. But like, just go far enough ahead, just enough so that you can get away with it.
And I had to cheat too, because like there's so many different planets and civilizations in this world. I call it the diaspora universe, but it's only one book, so I mean I can't expect people to understand me when I say that. But there's so many different planets and civilizations in this universe. I had to cheat a little bit where there's terraforming and like some time manipulation done by the aliens that could maneuver the different civilizations. And I don't think anyone's 100% why they get help from these aliens, but they do take sides in our little feuds.
Mm-hmm.
So that gun is like that's a panel where
Luke Stone's paneling here.
Yeah, and I don't know if you're following the action of it, because I think it's confused some people, but like there's basically the two pistols he's holding, they change into different shapes, and then he combines them into a rifle. So between those two panels, that's what's happening.
Oh.
Yeah, it looks like he's putting two of them together.
Yeah. So you can go dual wield and then long range.
So,
close range and long range.
It doubles the range and the power of the gun.
Oh, okay. So right here, looks like your video is only a couple minutes. That's actually perfect, because I forgot about it for a second. I looked at the pretty gun. I saw the pretty gun, and I was like, oh, and I probably shouldn't have said the G word. We're analyzing stories, YouTube. Relax.
It was a firearm.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know if it's a fire. What is it? A projectile, RJ?
It's an energy weapon. Yeah, it has.
It's not even a firearm.
Yeah, it's not even that,
bro.
It's a flashlight.
Yeah.
There you go.
From a fictional
Super
sci-fi
high
universe.
powered.
Yeah, super high powered plasma flashlight.
Yeah. A very high powered flashlight. That's what it is. Okay, let me pull this over here. Do. That's what it sounds like in my head sometimes, guys. Let's see.
The events that bring about the diaspora universe are set in motion by international trade wars. To counteract economic devastation, global trade sectors are created and agreed upon by member nations of the UN. Over the next century, trade sectors become unofficial governing bodies. The UN, as the arbiter of trade disputes, gains exponentially more enforcement power as national sovereignty erodes and trade sectors become continental provinces. Countries that resist the edicts of the UN are threatened with punishment. Skirmishes ensue, leading to wars. Resisting countries are eventually subdued, and a global government known as the Union is formed. As the Union's power expands, global resources are drained due to rampant mismanagement. Jubilee is instated, resulting in all personal property and wealth being surrendered and redistributed by the Union every 25 years. Space exploration is invigorated by the Union, largely out of desperation to leave a dying planet. Solar system colonies are formed, including Mars, Belt, and Titan. Astronomers observe what they suspect to be signs of life on a distant planet that becomes known as Avalon. The Union then commissions Earthship Hope, a deep space expedition to make contact with the alien lifeforms. Earthship Hope makes contact with friendly aliens who share their technology with Earth. Humans call these aliens Veteri. due to their ancient civilization. After learning about the Veteries' history, it is revealed to humans that the Veteri are from the Andromeda Galaxy. In the course of their many civilizations, Veteri have colonized many worlds and taken on many evolutionary forms,
a good name,
including cyborgs who seem to have godlike abilities. Most Veteri colonies are in deep space, as most Veteri have evolved to not need a planet. After befriending the Veteri of Avalon and sharing in their technology, many humans immigrate to Avalon. Earth, now saved by Veteri technology, starts to rebuild and strengthen its society. As unrest on Earth subsides and order is restored among the rulers of the Union, a royal line of supreme leaders is formed. Over centuries of humans and Veteri living together on Avalon, a hybrid species called Edrin is born. Concurrent with a new society on Avalon is a great deal of human exploration and colonization. Virtually every society conceivable is being experimented with in some form within the diaspora universe.
Nice.
So yeah, that's the video. So to the point of Missouri Breaks here, you could see there's definitely an Art Deco aesthetic to the Union's style, and that's kind of an homage to Brave New World coming out in the 1920s. So I wanted to run with that sort of vibe to their culture.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, it's dope.
Missouri, I believe Missouri Breaks is Jarrod here, right?
Yeah, I forgot to switch accounts on my YouTube.
All good.
You're good. Sometimes I do the same thing with like Empty My Lungs and even Iron Seas. When I see other other creatives live or something, I like to hop on there with Iron Seas and just shout pirate stuff at them. So, yeah.
Now that's
I got a new backer. Hell yeah,
man. That's really cool.
Thank
dude.
you, whoever backed.
Yeah, it's exciting, and yeah, we love to show support here, and so yeah, anybody listening, go check out RJ's stuff. Some good sci-fi comics, great art. I can vouch for it myself with Luke Stone. Fantastic. I can't wait till he's done with my cover. It's like it's killing me. I'm just like so excited for it.
He took a long time my cover, but it was worth the wait. I mean,
it is. Yeah.
Someone on Twitter said it's like gotta be candidate for best cover of the year. Like, I'm not trying to brag, but it is a pretty awesome cover. Spaceballs in the background. I think it's epic. I love it.
Oh yeah.
Can I ask one more nerd question?
Go for it.
Because like I just love that stuff. So the hybrid species mentioned in that lore video, are they in your world? Are they kind of set up to have some sort of like superior role, or like are they in a caste system going to be higher than?
Yeah, so I kind of, in the relationships of species, I sort of went in a Tolkien direction, and like so there's the Veteri, which are like way smarter than us, but they're very different in their design. Without getting into too many details, I don't want to give too much away. But the Edrin, they're the hybrid species. I sort of went with them as sort of like the elves of Lord of the Rings. Like, they're definitely a higher up, more enlightened kind of species.
Oh, I love that stuff, dude. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Talk about that stuff all night.
Oh yeah, it's fun to nerd out about that stuff.
Yeah, it is.
Agreed. I'm right there with you too. You had to like peel us off the internet last week with the dragons, man. We were just like, we could have kept going, man. And I'm disappointed we didn't even touch on a few things that I wanted to talk about. It was just like a lot of it was dragon biology, which is like its own topic. But yeah, at risk of getting into dragons again, and then getting carried away with that. Go back RJ stuff, and let's hear from TJ now. TJ, what have you been up to, brother? It's been a minute. I'm glad to see you're doing well.
Yeah. So we had like a bubble of everyone kind of interacting with all the Iron Age stuff. And then everybody kept working, but just kind of like a little less contact, I feel like, although I've been really busy, so maybe that's just me not coming around enough. But I've been working, trying to finish up the Heroes Metal series. It was going to be 3 books, then it was going to be 5, now it's going to be 4. for various reasons. One of them that I'm tired. But I think four is going to be the sweet spot anyway. So working on the last one. The three are actually, all three are on sale with the base book sale until like midnight for $1. So I probably should have mentioned that earlier, but that's okay. And so Heroes Metal is kind of like my flagship main series right now. Didn't really plan it that way. It just kind of happened. But it's what I think of as like Gonzo Sword and Sorcery. So heavy on the weird. And it's got actually I realized, or I was thinking about it since we were talking about Spaceballs, it's got a slight element of parody. Because the original like germ of the idea for it was what if you had like a metal band that is the fantasy quest party, right? So there's a character that represents the lead guitarist. There's a character that and that's the main character, Pierce. There's the character that represents the drummer. His name is Agrathor. He's like a lightning power skeleton. He's like all into vibrations and being, all out loud, crazy and stuff like that. The guy that holds it down, the kind of like father figure rhythm guitar guy, is one of them. The bassist is a chick, which is always cool. And then the keyboard wizard type, another female. Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. So I'm laughing. I'm like, yeah, that's yep.
Yeah.
Right, yep.
There's I don't know if anybody knows the band Arch Echo, but it's like a progressive metal band. It's really good, like jazzy, but pretty heavy. And they actually have a video where I can't remember his name, but where the keyboardist from Dream Theater does a solo, and they summon him with the summon wizard button. So I just thought that was funny.
That's awesome.
So there's the first one, How Black the Sky. Out of the Deep, number 2, Fear the Four Towers, number 3. Nobody's reviewed those yet, although people have bought them. So if you read it and feel like it, go ahead and leave a review.
Yeah, I saw you have an audiobook too, which is perfect because I'm so behind on reading. I'm trying to read a bunch of things for a bunch of people, and it's tough. But audiobooks, I can mow the lawn, I can cook dinner, I can do whatever,
Yeah. There's actually a kind of, I don't know if it's I was going to say funny story, but there is a story about that. The audiobook on Amazon is their like AI reader, just because when they started the beta for it, they were like, hey, you have a book that's eligible. Why don't you try it? So I did, but I actually have a real audiobook version of it, which is only on YouTube because it has music and sound effects.
Oh, cool.
And I don't have the form of it that only has the voice, so I can't put it on Audible, unfortunately. But it is on YouTube on my my channel, which I guess we could link. But
so that's interesting. So if you have even if you wrote the music and stuff like that,
if you're like one of the big kids, you can do it. But if you're just an indie, you're not allowed. I'm sure it's for reasons of quality, but it still stinks.
Oh, bro.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of music and stuff, so I'm happy to hear that your audiobook has that. But what kind of cop-out is that? Like, really? Like, but meanwhile, anybody can sign up for a third-party music distribution website and just like, this makes my eye twitch. Sorry. I don't
It's
mean
all right. Yeah. So that was the start of the idea. And then I had just come off of my actual first written book was kind of more of an epic fantasy portal adventure type thing, like Lord of the Rings versus like Shannara kind of thing, because that's what I grew up with. So obviously it was the first thing I wrote, and then I just needed to kind of let loose. So that's where the parody element comes in. Like it's poking a little bit of fun at some of the fantasy tropes and things like that, sword and sorcery tropes, because I was reading a lot of Conan at the time. But I wouldn't call them a parody. I'd just say it's like an element. So there's a little more humor in there. than you might expect, and some lightheartedness. Of course, they're heroic, masculine men and feminine women, even though, you know, all of them can kill whoever they need to kill to get the job done. Yeah, and so that's pretty much Heroes Metal without like spoiling anything. There's some, I guess I'll spoil a little. There are some slight sci-fi elements that'll crop up along the way, just because I like the idea of like lost history and like buried ancient civilizations. They're definitely not on Earth or anything like Earth. So if anybody likes that type of setting and you find that intriguing, you know, you might find that enjoyable.
Which one was that? Are these some
all of the Heroes Metal?
Oh, all the Heroes Metal. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, they're somewhere else entirely. Because like I said, I just needed to kind of let loose and escape with those. And they just get more focused as we go, because, you know, you kind of have to write a sequel, find the coherent threads that take you through to the end of the series plot.
Right.
But we're almost there. And actually, when I'm gearing up to release 4, hopefully sometime this year, I've got a little bit of a collaboration with Katie Room from Periapsis Press.
Oh, cool.
That'll help lead up to that. So I don't want to spoil what it is yet, but I figured, you know, you guys know her too. So
oh yeah,
Redhead's Dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's Heroes Metal, almost at the end.
Who did you say did the covers for these ones?
What about them?
Who did the covers?
I did.
Oh, you did? Okay. I love that first one's awesome, man. I was like, I want that. I want that video game.
Yeah.
I didn't notice this. You guys see this? You see what I see? That nice touch there. I like how they're in front of the words.
Yeah, I like it when there's an excuse to do that. Yeah, this is me and Midjourney 4 is the one that was up then.
Gotcha.
I can't. Unfortunately, AI. I don't have the art skills.
Well, okay.
But
well,
I can do the covers.
This works. Cool. Yeah, it gets the job done, and it looks cool. Does it convey? Is this accurate? Okay, here's the next question. Is this accurate?
It's like extremely accurate. Yes.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
that's all that matters then. Like
that thing's about a mile tall.
Like yeah, you like tall. Okay. What about this guy? Is that like phase 2 and everything?
Pretty
accurate?
Close.
Pretty close. Okay.
Yeah. There are different ways you could that particular monster. There's different ways you could interpret it, and so that's why I need to go with it.
Okay. A mile tall. That's accurate. Cool. And then this one. This is the one. This is the one.
Lots of big monsters.
Yeah. Kaiju, like kaiju demon.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
I'm getting a Shadow of the Colossus vibes a little bit.
Yeah. This is the one I expected to be not accurate, and this was like no problem with that one. That's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. You did this one over here too, right? I think me and my wife own which one do we own? It's the Life City one, I think.
Okay. Yeah. That one's kind of silly. It's an experiment, but I had fun with it.
I think we knew that. Yeah. That's why we ordered it too. Plus, we like the cover. I mean, did you get a comic artist for this one?
Okay. I remember their name. It was someone on Fiverr, but I thought they did a good job. I liked it.
They did. Yeah. So that's another reason.
Version. And then the Bloodbane cover is by Goichi Manji. He gets around like kinda in our part of Twitter.
Huh.
And he also did oh goodness, what's his name? Draco Knight? Is that it? I don't know. I don't know if you guys come across him.
I know Draco. I know Draco, yeah.
Yeah, he did his covers too. Yeah, cool. So that was cool.
Yeah, I think Draco pops in the Discord every now and then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're right. He does.
Yeah. Every now and then. Yeah. This one. So he did this one like from scratch.
Yeah. He did the art. I did the typography.
Cool. Yeah. Typography, for those listening, aspiring writers, just learning how to do like, okay, even this, right? Just even simply just blap outline, call it good, but like just being able to do it yourself, like it really
give
goes
it a little bit
way.
Of shape, you know.
Yeah, you can really, it goes a long way. Like just knowing how to do that. Like, guess what? If you can do that, you can make thumbnails next, because you can find Google Images and then just make it the right size.
Right.
Poop letters on it. But anyway,
But yeah, so for anyone, since you were looking at it, for anyone who just wants a quick one, Bloodbane's a good pick. It's short.
Far
It's
right.
got some lit RPG
Oh, yeah?
elements, but not so much that it would drive you away if you're not into that.
I like
But it's
Parody.
about a guy that, essentially a evil interdimensional alien invasion occurs while he's out in the field working, and they're in between him and his wife and his daughter, so he kills everything he has to kill to get back to them. It's kind of it in a nutshell.
Is this like your John Wick?
It's not like it's described in here as a classic NES game story.
Yeah.
With a fast pace. Not so subtle nods to Castlevania. So I'm like, ooh, all right. I don't fully grasp what a NES game story. What exactly?
So
that is.
the quick start, like it's like you're doing something and the enemies attack and you go. So
Okay,
it's not like I woke up and looked in the mirror and had a fight with my wife and then I went to work and I talked to my friends and it's just
10-second
very
cutscene.
pulpy.
Go.
Yeah.
All right, I like it.
Glad you liked the Santa story.
And what up, Billy? Thanks for joining us. Just going over some cool stuff here. Yeah, you're a pretty prolific author from what I can tell. And I knew that.
Work here.
Yeah, big slowdown lately, but I hope to get it back.
Things have slowed down for me too. I tried to stay consistent with the show, though. At least try to keep that going, no matter what. Iron Seas, the ship does not stop. We keep on a sailing, and I even found a way to channel my writing in the flash fiction in the newsletter. So I should really continue editing my novel, though. Just between me and you, chat. Don't tell the guys. But yeah, great stuff. I put his link in the chat. I also put RJ's link in the chat. Go check out everything in the description. We got a little bit of time left. If you guys want to do a quick version of what we usually do, which is just chilling and talking. I mean, there's obvious headlines in the news and stuff. But I almost clicked out. Wrong X button. Okay, there we go. Yeah, there's obvious headlines in the news that we could talk about, but we come here for a little bit of nostalgia and escape, watch a movie, hang out with the guys, and the ladies too. Cheers, ladies in the chat. The sea wives of the Iron Seas. Fantastic. But yeah, what's been on your guys' mind? How's your week been? Like, what else you guys want to talk about?
I know sorry, in the chat. Are they all wives? And some gotta be fans. Is Anne Pincava, is she someone's wife? Or is she a fan?
She's a fan. Yeah, she's actually just a fan and a friend.
And I like her comment about like how she wanted the guys in the Dragon movie. Can't remember the name of it.
Fire.
Rain of Fire, yeah. She wanted the guys to like rebuild the world. And I was thinking of like there's so much like nihilism in media now. That's like a big complaint of people about Star Wars, and it's just like this lack of vision. Like, okay, we're gonna fight the bad guy, but then what do we stand for? What are we gonna do afterward? There's no vision around any of that, and I think that's what a lot of fans, I think, are really lacking in media. But I think a lot of the independents are trying to pick up that slack, and I certainly try to in the Diaspora universe and Call Sign Orion. Obviously, some of that more long-term, bigger world-building stuff in one issue, even though it's 42 pages, isn't going to all be touched on. It's just going to be introduced. But I hope to get there, and I think we all want to see stories like that.
Yeah. And so a little context here. She watched Reign of Fire after watching Iron Seas and did not like it. And I do agree with her criticism here of killing off the best men. I get that. Yeah. And I actually have my gripes too, because I think it's solid good world building. And they just don't do anything with it. They caught lightning in a bottle, and it got handed off to like just action bros. I guess that's the best way to put it. Just it got handed off to action bros, and you get those kind of ideas. But I mean, in hindsight, I stand by a lot of the stuff I said on Dragon Week. Like, nobody was really thinking about like the biology of the dragon before Reign of Fire and stuff like that. At least not on a mainstream level. That kind of thing. You know, the highlights are still there. It's still a really cool movie about dragons. Ooh, dragons everywhere. You know.
Do you think it kills it when you get into the biology of like a fantasy creature? Like, I kind of liked how in Blade, like in the first movie they briefly talk about how his red blood cells are different, but then they don't really explain any of that. Like, I think that's an interesting idea. Like, oh, they're a little different biologically, and it explains what they could do. Does that kill it, or is that?
It can be interesting if the lore gets really deep. That stuff can be fun to dive into, but sometimes it's cool whenever you have the mystery or missing pieces of information so you don't have a full picture. That can also be fun to speculate on. So I think there's either one can handle the right way, I think can work. I almost have a preference for, I don't know, I almost like not knowing everything. I like a little bit of a mystery to kind of keep you coming back, and they can like give you a little bit, but sometimes you get to a point where the mystery is the cool part. Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't know, you finding out in a ghost movie that it's not a ghost, it's some guy like dressed up. I was like, man, it was so fun whenever there's that mystery of who's the ghost. And then once it's like, oh no, it's just this guy like playing tricks. I'm like, oh man.
Right.
Yeah.
I know it's a little bit different, but I feel like there's that line I like whenever you can get close to it, but you got to be careful because you go too far. It can be handled well, but I think there's times whenever it can be too much.
There's some sort of uncanny valley for sure.
I think sometimes it can be medium dependent. Like I think you can do different things in a film than you can in a book, and vice versa. And actually, I think you can do a lot more. You can do a lot more in a book than you can in a film. I tend to agree more with Guillermo del Toro and his take on that on fantasy and just magic in film. At least is that everything doesn't need to be explained. And there are some things when you start to explain it lose their magic. Mm-hmm. Like there's an element, sometimes there's an element lost. So, and if I recall, he said that in an interview around the time that Pan's Labyrinth, Pan's Labyrinth came out. And I remember thinking is like, man, if you had to explain, if you tried to explain the Thin Man, like in that film, like, and you had this like this backstory and this like biological explanation of this character, it would be so much less interesting and way less terrifying than just this creature who exists solely to tempt and devour, and that's it. Like, and that's all the explanation it needed. That's also a little genre dependent too, because I think like in science fiction, you have to have at least an ability to explain the world you're creating, or explain some of the science in the world. And so it's like a fine line. It's like how much explanation is needed, how much explanation is wanted, and finding that balance.
So I actually have a few thoughts on this too. Like, it was very well put, both of you guys, by the way. I agree with both of you, and it's true. I think so there's a term called using like the iceberg effect or the iceberg tool. It's like a writing tool where you just show the tip of the iceberg, but you provide it the right details so that people can assume what the rest of it looks like, but you haven't actually written out the rest of the iceberg. It's underneath the water, so people can't see it. I think that lends itself to a lot of things. Even if you just got to stick to the cool things, and kind of passively world build as you go. It's at least a great start, because I mean, I think everybody wants to eventually get a world building Bible going for everything. I mean, like every detail of their world, the full history and everything. But we can take like a comparison like Jurassic Park and Chaos Theory and compare it to something like let's take Reign of Fire, right? because they lean even more into it than Game of Thrones. I think Game of Thrones still implies that it's basically the same thing as Reign of Fire, where it's two chemicals mixing, and but there's also this implication that there is some sort of weird magical property to it in Game of Thrones, but that's neither here nor there. We could take Reign of Fire. It's very scientific, right? These are just beasts, right? These are beasts that breed even crazier than rabbits, which is going to be to my point, and have these elements of some like reptilians, like spitting cobras and fire beetles and stuff like that. These other elements of nature embedded in it, so the whole thing feels 100% real. You know what I mean? It's really hard to knock a hole in the Reign of Fire stuff. As when we talked about dragons last week, we started writing a hypothetical sequel, and it turns out it's really fun and easy with what they provided in the first movie and what you can see. But when you compare these two things, like I can see, like, Anne didn't like Reign of Fire. I know it was for the killing off the character's choice, but some people, like, I think to RJ's point, didn't you say it might kill it for some people? I think Evalie, you said you like to have some mystery involved in it. That's part of the magical quality of a fantasy world, is like it's not the same as this world. And if you just explain every element of the fantasy world with elements of this world, then now it's just a rearranged version of this world. So I get that. Some people don't like that, so I get it. But then you compare it to like Jurassic Park, which I think when you just follow what Jurassic Park does with chaos theory in tandem with how Reign of Fire wrote it into the world, into the creatures themselves, and implement that iceberg effect as the third point to this, I think that's when you can really perfect this art of delivering the details without going too far and explaining enough of your creature's biology, right? Because what I mean by Jurassic Park is they just kind of I don't know if you, and Jarrod, maybe you caught this watching this as a movie creator. I mean, all of us, RJ as a comic book creator, like all of us actually should probably have it. Evalie, even with video games and stuff. But in Jurassic Park, they just kind of like passively show us all the clues of how life finds a way, and these dinosaurs start breeding and stuff like that. The impossible becomes possible. That's the magic aspect of Jurassic Park. And the chaos theory is we don't fully understand, but they do explain it actually, technically, just by showing us that they use frog DNA. Just simply using any sort of like other sort of reptilian and especially frogs, right? Any sort of reptilian DNA. There's certain lizards and creatures that become hermaphroditic when the need arises. And that was actually one of my main arguments for the Reign of Fire sequel. You kill that big scary male, guess what's going to happen? They're probably they're not going to just die off. I think they're all just going to go to sleep, and somebody's going to grow something and then wake up, and then the struggle continues. But you see my point. They it's not like they were harping on and on about like deep, dense world building about the dinosaurs' biology and stuff like that. They just kind of explained it in one scene with some very light and actually pretty entertaining exposition. It was literally them parading the party through the lab. Yeah. And they showed us a movie. They showed the audience a literal movie with the little DNA guy. You remember that shit?
Yep.
Yeah. It does crack me up though. Like all these scientists, nobody thought and considered like, wait, the frog DNA we're using, maybe this isn't a good idea.
Well, in the movie they say they used amphibian DNA. And then
even worse terminology.
They made the jump. They made the jump. Well, there's some frogs who have spontaneously changed sex.
You mean
they're like
gay?
Yeah,
this kind of androgynous.
Turn up freaking frogs gay.
Yeah, it's already an androgynous species.
Put fluoride in the drinking water for the dinos.
The ones that pointed it out got fired.
There you go.
Now that would be an interesting sequel.
Right. You see my point. You see my point, though.
Just as a if you take that as just as a commentary, a sad commentary on the state of modern film writing and screenwriting, It's like think about how much they did in one scene, which was an exposition. It's a scene of exposition, but how much they did in one scene, all the heavy lifting they did to get you from a world where there's no such thing as dinosaurs anymore to dinosaurs are real dinosaurs are extinct, and now they're not extinct, and I have a bunch of them here. Let's go check them out. Like in this like one short, succinct scene, and it was done. And like that's very like skilled writing to be able to pull that off. And now you've got what we've got.
Yes. But yeah, we're getting to be about that time. But yeah, I absolutely love talking about this stuff, and I could just keep going on about it. But you guys see what I'm saying about like the Jurassic Park thing, and I mentioned chaos theory because that's kind of the whole point that Michael Crichton was getting at with it. It was a bunch of humans playing God, and then nature finds a way, right? Because of chaos theory. The more you try to control something, it's just like the more these odd variables just kind of manifest, where something's just going to go wrong that you couldn't possibly have even thought of. You know what I mean? And that's where it kind of becomes necessary to kind of mention something about the DNA. So what I'm saying is they had every reason to do it and then didn't go full on into it, even though I used the example of they literally showed us a educational film in the movie. They're just being entertaining with it and super meta, but they don't like super dwell on it. Like you almost forget that you don't even realize what's happening, especially if you're like younger and don't know anything about storytelling or writing and stuff. It's like, wait, what happened to showing versus telling? They're literally telling. So here's how we did the DNA. Yeah.
But that's
the pacing there really helps.
It does.
Yeah.
And like you said, the layers, like showing you the film, it's got the animations, he's got the interaction. There's just they do it really efficiently.
Spielberg.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And I think that's it showcases like this whole like the whole issue of like, you know, what you explain, what you don't explain, how much do you explain, how little do you explain, all of that, like that highlights the I think the difficulty of sci-fi versus other genres, because like in science fiction you have to explain stuff. You have to explain stuff in your world
in ways,
and at the same time you can't it can't be an Encyclopedia Britannica entry. Like it has to be engaging in the narrative, and that's why that I think is why good sci-fi, good science fiction is my favorite genre of movie, is because when it's done well, it is so good.
Well, it can't be bullshit either. Meaning, like, so like, it doesn't have to be an encyclopedia, like you said. But at the same time, if you just start spouting off nonsense about aviation stuff that a pilot will read and know, because like sometimes that's like the demographic of like science fiction, right? Like there's a whole wing of like military dudes that love science fiction military, like, you know what I mean? Like basically Starship Troopers, and that's huge in mainstream now. And like even Star Wars, right? Like a lot of that is like a lot of like these types of dudes. And so
that's what my hats off to like good sci-fi writers, man, because like
I thought about it when I started writing my novel. I'm like, well, what do I want to write? And I really meditated on it, and that's why I ended up doing my book is actually, it started off as a comic idea, a graphic novel idea. But yeah, I had to cross that bridge. I was like, do I want to be science fiction? Like, what would I do better at? And I kind of like did some thought experiments, daydreamed about it a little bit, and I'm just like, oh, I don't know if I don't know if I have the technical mindset to explain all the like I know you don't have to necessarily say how the machine works, but it's like I probably should like say the proper words for things, like the engines maybe, like, you know, I would just be calling everything the same word. It's not like I have 4 different words for an engine, whereas I might have more than 4 words for like a warrior, a knight, etc., right? Some sort of fighter. And yeah, so I can just play on that all day in a medieval setting. And so I'm a fantasy writer, and apparently I'm a horror writer, according to Amazon. Have you been, TJ, were you outed by Amazon yet? Did they change your genre on you?
I don't. They've gotten a couple things a little bit off. Yeah, but no, I don't think I've gotten anything like way off. Yeah. I would take horror. There's some horror in most of them. Yeah. Most of my books, but
I would take that too. I wasn't disappointed. It could have been.
Well, the thing is, it's a giant category, so then like you're never gonna like hit the top, because there's just so many other ones.
Well, and you get RJ, you get the sci-fi action.
Yeah.
I'm definitely in the sci-fi action kind of category.
Yeah.
Military space fantasy.
Yeah, with a strong dystopian element.
Yeah. We just watched. So we just did like a thing on Animal Farm, and it's been pretty Orwellian around here. I watched 1984 with my wife. It's a while ago now, but like not that long ago in the scheme of things. Pretty relatively recent, like within a few months or something. So yeah, like I don't know, maybe we'll review that one one day. It would have to be for the book club, I think, because that book is so good. Holy crap, that book is good. And the audiobook is free on YouTube. I know it is. But yeah, you gotta get that dystopian vibe in there sometimes. There's a whole group of people that as soon as they hear that, they're interested. It's just like the Dragon crowd.
Yep.
I'm writing fantasy. Oh, okay. Yeah. It's about a dragon prince. A what? You know what I mean? Those people.
Tell me more.
Yeah.
There's so many types of dystopian, so there's still, it's such a broad genre. Like, I very much prefer the Brave New World type of dystopia because it's the voluntary dystopia where people give up their freedoms for comfort and and pleasure.
Yeah. I think I like the Animal Farm dystopia where it's on the nose. I read 1984 and it was very good. It actually like shook me at one point in time. It's just like the first time in the book when the words "I love you" were said in the book. It's just like a slap across the face. I was working and I stopped working and like forgot where I was for a second because I was like listening to the audiobook and I was like, oh. And even with that, it wasn't until I read Animal Farm that Orwell became one of my favorite authors.
I bet
for sure.
I bet you would. Have you seen the movie Equilibrium?
I was just gonna bring that up.
I haven't.
You would love that.
Yes,
that would be a great
did.
movie to bring up sometime.
Gun kata, man.
Gun kata. So I saw like a fun internet theory that like John Wick is like a gun kata pioneer, and like in the Equilibrium universe, it's just they built on it.
That was the whole reason I went and saw John Wick. I'm like, oh, that's it's like Equilibrium, but it's Keanu Reeves, Bill or Ted, whichever one it was. Excellent. Yeah, man, Equilibrium's a good one. It's dystopian and stuff. But Sean Bean is in it. Christian Bale.
Yep.
Tay Diggs in his best role.
Yep.
His scene, man, the CGI. Every time it cracks me up.
It's a good movie all around.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool. The gun kata makes it, but it was a decent story.
Yeah.
Billy brought up a good Billy Judd in the chat. They've been talking about Harry Potter in the chat, so I figure before we go, we should actually just touch on that quick. I know it's late for you, Evalie, so if you got a dip, feel free to just interject, say your piece, and dip. But I figured before we go, some quick Harry Potter talk. So it all started with talk about the show, I believe, and Billy has been coming back every week. Props to you, Billy. Thank you. Coming back and mentioning Harry Potter stuff. So they've been kind of excited for us to talk about it, I think. Does anybody here familiar on the panel? Anybody familiar with what's going on with the? My wife says hi. She's wearing Empty My Lungs merch too. Show them
nice, very nice.
Yeah. Anybody here familiar with the here? I'll full screen it. Anybody here familiar with the Harry Potter stuff going on? Oh, show them the back.
I am not familiar with what
the casting for the show.
Yeah.
Just a bit, yeah, not much.
Okay. Yeah, it's just some. I know Snape is black, and that's the big controversy.
Yeah, I knew it was controversial.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't care too much about a lot of people. I feel like just no matter what you say about race swapping, one crowd's gonna come at you with knives and pitchforks. But race swapping in a lot of cases doesn't bother me. I take it on a case by case basis, and like I think it sometimes some demographics are important to a character, and sometimes they're not, and they're just interchangeable. Like with James Bond, I think is a good example. He's got to be English. He's got to be male. Take away either of those, he's not James Bond. It's not true of all characters. Is race important to James Bond? I don't think so. Like, is race important to Snape? Probably not.
I would have been first in line back in Idris Elba for James Bond like 10 years ago. Like I thought I when that was first rumored, I thought, oh, that'd be dope. He'd be so good.
Well, they established that there's different bonds, right? So if there's different bonds, you can have a black bond and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I know people are clutching their pearls really tight with that one, which I get it. It's just another cultural thing that they're corrupting. But RJ, what's your opinion on? I think it's okay. Do you know the actress that was in Wicked, the bald lady with like the nails and stuff?
Cynthia Erivo or something.
So what's your opinion on her being cast as Jesus Christ?
Yeah, that's some left wing edgelord stuff.
That's what I think. That's what I'm saying.
That's all it is.
Yeah. And I think
they
that's
want
what
you to be mad at it.
Exactly.
It's
and
too lazy for me to even be upset.
It really
it's
is
like,
lazy.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying.
That's what they're doing with Snape. That's what they've been doing all along.
Well, that's the other thing.
Meryl Streep is now Aslan in the new Lion, Witch, and Wardrobe.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like making Aslan, I mean, that's
not as bad.
That's like almost as bad. But
it's
like,
pretty bad, but it's not as bad. Yeah.
Exactly. And a lot of the race swapping, their motives behind it are what I really don't like. The thing itself is not that bad a lot of the time, but their motives are what's bad about it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And somebody in the chat, I believe they mentioned, or maybe it was somebody on the panel, I can't remember at this point. They mentioned that the creator of the Star Wars sequel movies messed everything up on purpose to divide the audience. And that's I read that and I was like, that's true. And isn't that kind of telling? Because that is 100% what they were doing. And even the owner of Disney, I think it was Iger, he came out and said that, hey, we got too carried away with the political stuff. We got too involved in political stuff, as they spent years denying that they were propagandizing. So there you have it. I mean, is it really that surprising? But it's troubling to see that there's kind of still. Well, hold on. Harry Potter's not Disney, is it?
But
no, that's Warner Brothers.
This show, is it just the movies again, just made into a TV series? I don't understand what this is. Like
they're doing. It's supposed to be a multi-season show that will be much truer to the books and the film. So they're expanding each one. That will and it's like set many episodes per season that will allow them to tell more of the book story than the
WB.
Than the films did. So a lot of stuff that got cut out of the films will be in the books. Okay. The thing that people are having the most problem with in terms of Snape's casting is that he's the third most described character in the entire series. Like there's Harry, Dumbledore, and then Snape. Those three are described more than anybody else. And he is described very specifically as being greasy, pasty white, pale, hook nose, all of these negative things, just so to race swap that character, for one, because he's so described, is bad enough. But then what happens in the book, in the history of this story, when you add a current day 2025 America racial element to the story, it changes the context of backstory really bad. I talk with my hands and I'm hit my mic, but like it changes the backstory really badly, like in ways they are not prepared for. I don't think I do not think they thought it through. It's like
you're checking boxes.
Yeah.
Bill says WB, and I think he's trolling, but maybe not. Is this a WB Harry Potter? Is that what? Is that
Warner Brothers owns Harry Potter?
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
Well,
I missed it. What platform is this going to be on? Is this going to be on Disney or HBO? I almost said Cinemax.
It's going to be whatever stupid
Showtime or Cinemax
streaming platform they've changed Max from HBO to HBO Max to whatever it is.
Okay,
it's one of those things. Whatever the rebrand is.
I can't keep them straight.
It might have like Sons of Anarchy, Game of Thrones money thrown at it. It's just like,
oh, it'll have a huge budget.
Oh my god, dude!
And the rest of the casting, some of the rest of the casting, I think, is really good.
Well, right, like they brought back Draco Malfoy, right?
Well, that's for the stage play.
That's right. Okay, no. Yeah, I'm getting my Harry Potter news mixed up.
Yeah,
people still love it after all these years. It's crazy.
Yeah, and Draco, like Tom Felton will actually play Lucius Malfoy in the stage play for The Lost Child.
Oh yeah. So yeah, at the risk of going on forever, I mean, because like, yeah, we could talk about this. Like Harry Potter's its own genre, basically. At this point, it's its own type of fantasy. Like, just like kind of Star Wars and Starship Troopers are its own type of science fiction. You might even argue Lord of the Rings, but yeah. But yeah. Any last words before we go, guys?
Just thanks for having us on.
Yeah, thank you very much.
On, guys. Yeah, appreciate it. Projects look awesome and good to see people are grinding away at their different creative endeavors, and wish you all a lot of success with that. So thanks for stopping by, and thanks to the chat.
Yeah, man. Good luck on this campaign, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, TJ, hope people check your books out too, because like, yeah, me and my wife love the copy we got of Life City, right? Life City.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it deserves more sunlight because you do a lot for the community too. So, because I don't know if you're still doing that show, but you do a lot of promoting.
I keep wanting to get back to it. It's just good. The whole time thing, you know.
I got featured one time and it like made my day. I was like, oh my,
that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I loved hearing the reports back. That was great. Yeah. It definitely helped. And I always tell people, like, if you are interested in any of our stuff, like, every copy you buy makes the next thing come faster and better, because we all need the morale boost, right? When you have a slump, it stinks. And so then when someone shows up and like Kindle Unlimited reads your book in like a day and a half, all of a sudden you've got the energy, you know?
Yeah, I'm gonna write. I'm gonna get back to that. Yeah. Yep. All right, guys. Well, we will see you next time. I'm going to see if I can be fast enough on the draw here. Cheers, everybody. In Kahuna voice. Woo!